it no longer was about her being loved by Jacob. And now it was about her being seen by the people. We have to be cognizant of the fact that when you're in competition with people, it is very likely that you will fall into the traps continuously of over and over and over and over trying to keep one-upping this person, and it gets so tiring. One-upping people gets so tiring. Ask me, I know, because I have been there one too many times for me to even think it's any positive thing. Leah, excuse me, is now also in the same place where Rachel is, where it's like, oh, maybe now I will be seen and there will no longer be any disgrace in my heart. She's still holding on to the shame, and she wants to get rid of the shame that she feels now, not for the fact that she couldn't bear children or that she was barren, because she was never barren, but for the fact that she was unloved. So she now no longer wants to repair herself for herself and for her relationship with Jacob. She wants to repair it for everybody else, to show everybody else that, guys, I am loved. I am cool. I am good. I am all these things. I am worthy of being considered as part of society because, look how many children I have. Look what kind of relationship I have. Look what job I have. Look how much money I make. Look how, all these things that we're consistently leaning on to validate our sense of self-worth. And verse 14 speaks about when Reuben went out to the field to get mandrakes. And mandrakes were known to enhance fertility. I don't know if that's still a thing. I don't know what mandrakes look like. Let's see. Mandrakes. Okay. It's sort of like a root. It's a root that looks a little gingery or like carroty. I don't know if that's visible. Okay, I don't know if that's visible, but I'll put it on screen if it's not. But yeah, so mandrakes were known to enhance fertility back in the day. And when Rachel says to Leah that, can I please have some of your mandrakes, it's also a display of how Rachel, even though she is outwardly performing this manipulative act to bear children through her servant, there's still also a void in Rachel's heart that needs to be filled, because she also, again, culturally back in the day, has shame attached to her, because there was a lot of shame attached to women who couldn't bear children on their own. And so her asking for those mandrakes is, I believe, a symbolism of like, yo, I need fertility. And it's ironic that she's asking, or I think intentional, it's not even ironic, that she's asking for it from Reuben, or that the whole thing was orchestrated in such a way where Reuben brought the mandrakes to Leah and Rachel asks, can I have some of your sons' mandrakes? She yearns, because Reuben was the first son, she yearns to have a first son of her own. So the symbolism behind that is basically her saying, I want a son of my own. I want a first son of my own. Can I have some of that? She's yearning for that connection to her own first son, or she's yearning for the fertility to be able to bear her own son. And Leah obviously in response is like, yo, you already took so much from me. Now you also want this. It felt to Leah, as we can see, that you took this away from me. You took love away from me. Now you also want to take this from me. You want to take something that I can use for my fertility away from me. Like, why? And this next part, where Rachel bargains with Leah to say, okay, you know what? You can have your husband in exchange for some mandrakes. You can have him for tonight, which is crazy to me, because I mean, Jacob is Leah's husband, meaning that they could engage at any time, right? But it's like she's using this thing as a method to again manipulate the situation, to say, okay, I know this is yours, but exchange it still for something that you can give me. If we're not careful, right, we'll fall into the same trap. Obviously, Leah took this offer, right? She had the conversation with Jacob to say, hey, I hired you for some mandrakes, like, let's go. And it's so dangerous to be in a position where you feel like power has been stripped of you because somebody else has something that you want. So you're willing to exchange something for something that was already yours. You're willing to exchange something that only God can give you for something that was already yours, just in an attempt to get your power back. Because Leah felt like she was having something taken away from her by Rachel, it felt like a valuable exchange to say, okay, it's fine. I'll give you something that makes me fertile, or I'll give you this in exchange to feel seen by my husband again. You're comparing yourself to somebody so much to the point where you feel like you need to give something in exchange for the thing that the Lord was already going to bless you with. I think we make exchanges very easily. We exchange our peace for things that the Lord has already promised us. Before it's time for us to have these things, it's possible for us to exchange our peace. It's possible for us to exchange our dignity. It's possible for us to exchange our integrity for things that the Lord was already intending to bless us with. To exchange what else? Our obedience for things that the Lord had already said yes to us possessing, because we are so hung up on trying to be like the next person. So you are okay with exchanging your peace for a relationship that the Lord already intended for you to have in future. Maybe not with the same person, but a relationship. You want to exchange your peace for that relationship because you want to gain power back from the shame that you feel that somebody else has something that you don't, right? You are willing to go above and beyond to be at a job that you clearly had to break down the door to be in, and that is not something that the Lord has placed you in, has positioned you in, and your mental health is deteriorating. You are not okay there, right? Simply because I don't want this shame to be attached to me anymore, that I'm unemployed or whatever the case may be. And this is not to negate the need for us to continuously pursue to be secure, but security at its foundation does not come from things that can come and go. It comes from God. Security, real security, like in whatever situation you find yourself in, security cannot be found in something that can come and go. You can't even be secure in your own life, because literally you could die tomorrow. You could be out of here tomorrow, you know. So trying to secure something, a future, a whatever, just your dignity, nje, whatever it is, right? You won't find it in a concept that you can touch, you can feel, you can that can go tomorrow. Like, it's here today, tomorrow you get retrenched. It's here today, tomorrow you break up with your partner. It's here today, tomorrow you go bankrupt. It's here today, tomorrow your car gets repossessed. It's here today, tomorrow you know what I mean? Like, you can't put your security on things that can come and go, because by virtue of that you will forever be insecure, because security has to come from something that is for sure going to be a constant source of that, a constant source of protection, a constant source of security, a constant source. And there's nothing that's more constant than God. Nothing, not a single thing. There's nothing that can offer you that same security if it has the ability to change on you in the next hour, if it has the ability to change on you in the next few days, if it has the ability to change on you in the next 10 years. It is not something that can be positioned well enough to give you enough security. So, I think when we are considering breaking down doors to have blessings that are not timely according to God, because again, a blessing obtained too early, or an inheritance obtained too early, is not a blessing in the end. You are at risk of exchanging it for something that you shouldn't be exchanging it for. You are at risk of exchanging it for something that you actually need. You need to be mentally well. You need to be at peace. You need to be obedient. You need to have integrity. And if you're in a position where, let's say, going back to the example of relationships, you exchange your peace for relationships every day. You're fighting with yourself internally, because there is nothing peaceful about this relationship. You're always fighting with this person. You're always feeling like, okay, I need to drag this person along with me in my faith, because we're unequally yoked. I need to always be at war with my spirit in prayer for this person, because we're unequally yoked. You're never at peace. You can't even sleep sometimes. You don't even know. The communication is so off. You don't even know if this person really likes you. Like, is it worth it? You're exchanging something for something that God had already intends to bless you in a timely manner. Bless you with in a timely manner. Right? Because a lot of us are going to be, maybe already are, in relationships that are peaceful, relationships that don't need you to exchange your peace. They don't need you to compromise on your values and your morals. They don't need you to fight in a peaceless way, to fight in a way that takes away so much of your strength and your energy. There is no need for that when blessings come from God. Yes, this also does not negate the fact that blessings from God don't mean that they will be easy. That's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about ease, but we're talking about peace. And the difference between the two is that even in a lack of ease in a situation, let's say you're battling through something with your partner, there will still be an internal peace that the Lord is here. The Lord is with both of us. We're both pursuing the Lord. Now, when both of you guys are, or one of you guys is on this end, the other one is on this end, what must happen? What must happen? You tell me. If you're in that situation, what must happen? I'm just asking. I just want to know, because I don't know. I don't know. But your don't exchange something that shouldn't be exchanged. Something that is invaluable, like something that you can't put a tangible value on. Don't exchange it for something that the Lord already intends to bless you with. Because again, a lot of us, the Lord, He intends to bless us with good things. Not even a lot of us, all of us. You're submitted to the Lord. He intends to bless you with good things. But we are so hung up on trying to catch up with the rest of the world, with the person that's next to you, where we will dig holes for ourselves. We will exchange things. We will fight to be in places. We will be, and again, endurance and resilience, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about being somebody that is resilient in your work. I'm talking about this internal conflict that you consistently have, where you have sleepless nights about certain things. You're not ever settled in your spirit about something that's happening in your life, because you've exchanged it for a blessing that was obtained too early. Whereas God, maybe 3, 4, 5 years down the line, intended to bless you with your own child. He intended to bless you with your own whatever, relationship, job, house, car. And it's not about that. It's not about the house. It's not about the car. It's not about the relationship. It's not about all of that. That's not why we are in communion with the Lord. Because if that is, I would encourage you to check your heart, because I was there where my relationship with the Lord was so transactional, and I felt like He owed me a lot of the things that I didn't have. And it put such a ridge in my relationship with Him, where I was no longer communing with Him as Lord, but I was now like using Him as like a genie. That's not the point. The point of God is not for Him to just spew blessings at you, but it's communion, right? It's salvation. It's just so many other things that, again, are invaluable. You can't exchange your salvation. You can't exchange your communion with the Lord for something that He could literally drop in your lap tomorrow. You can't do that. So yeah. And what's funny also is that in this whole competition, Leah ended up being the one who bore the child that Jesus came from, the line that Jesus came from. In Matthew chapter 1, we see the genealogy of Jesus. And in this genealogy is Judah. And Judah is the son that Leah praised the Lord for, where she had decided, screw this whole thing of trying to make Jacob love me. I'm going to praise the Lord. He came from that genealogy. And so when the Lord is the one who blesses you, and when you are finally in a place where you can commune with the Lord, where a blessing no longer makes you want to chase after things, but to chase after Him, so many good things can come from that. But when we take God's blessings and we make them things that they shouldn't be, we make them our source of security, we make them our source of feeling loved and whole and complete, nothing good can come from that. And you'll be in a constant cycle of comparison, of hatred towards others, of jealousy, of whatever. The fruit of the blessing will always expose its root. So, for example, the fruit of Judah, the blessing that Judah was to Leah, was the line that Jesus came from. And the fruit of all the other babies, Bo Asher, Libo Zebulun, Libo Naphtali, Libo Mang, all of those people. It just kept brewing comparison. It kept brewing jealousy. It kept brewing all these things. So wait for the Lord to bless you, because He wants to. and do not exchange anything invaluable for something that the Lord can, and maybe He may not. Maybe you may never get the blessing that you hope in your heart, or you feel like in your heart you are owed. Maybe you never get it. That is a work that the Lord has to do on your heart, to be able to still serve Him, even if, because that's the whole point, right? Being able to serve Him not for what He can give, but for who He is, to commune with Him, to love Him, for Him to love you, for Him to make you whole, for Him to heal you, for Him to stop making you this person that's insecure, who hates people, who is wicked in your heart, who, all these things. That's the point. God is not a genie. He's a father. So, yeah, that's all I have to say today. I will see you guys next week.